Okay, this is math homework for Dylan, fourth grade math homework, Thursday, November 2nd, 2023. Okay, so admittedly, this is not something I learned in school. So you're gonna learn this anyway, but but obviously I didn't learn this in school, but I know how to do it. So let's work through it. The question number one. Barb purchased two candy bars from the band club. She ate half of one candy bar. The remaining candy is shaded in the picture below. So this is what she ate. This right here is what she ate. This is what she did not eat. Okay, so I can remember that. Barb gave her sister a piece of candy that was 3/7 of a whole candy bar. Which is true about the amount of candy Barb has left? So 3/7, this is the key number, 3/7, right? Now they want you to estimate how much 3/7. So 3/7 is pretty close. So what is half of 7? I'm not sure you guys know this yet. So half of 7 is is 3.5. I'm giving you that. So 3.5 times 2 is 7, right? The other way to look at this is 3. What's 3 times 2? So double. If you were to double 3, it'd be 6, right? So it's almost half a candy bar. So Barb gave her sister almost half a candy bar. 3/7 is pretty close to half. So we're gonna remove this right here. This is everything she's either eaten or given away. So this is what she has left. We're estimating this. 3/7 is pretty close to half of a candy bar, and the way you know that is because 3/6 is half of a candy bar. So this is pretty close. So this is what she has. This is what she had before. This is what she had before. This is what she ate. What Barb ate. This is what she gave to her sister. This section right here, almost half a candy bar. So we can cross all this out. This is what is gone, and this is what is left. That's what the question is asking. So how much does Barb have left? We can see the answers. Barb has half a candy bar left. No, we already know it's one candy bar. She has about one candy bar left. So this is our closest answer, B. Barb has a little more than one whole candy bar left. And we can see this because look at C. C has no candy bar left. We know that's not true. We already know that's not true. And Barb has 3/4 of a candy bar left. 3/4 would be, if we do that as into fourth, that would be 1. So they're saying this is what she has left. This is what D is saying. Barb has 3/4 of the candy bar left. And we know that's not true. She has almost a whole candy bar left. A little over a candy bar left. Because 3/7. Anyway, so that's the point. This is the closest answer you're gonna get. So this is our answer. Again, this is estimating. I don't know if you've heard that word before, but this is estimating the answer. That's number 1. Okay. I just realized that these questions are a little bit quick, so I'm gonna do 2 at a time. Okay, so this is number 2 and 3. This is number 2 first. During the walkathon, Cooper walked 9/10 of a kilometer and Mia walked 3/5 of a kilometer. Which is the best estimate of their combined distance? So they want to know what these two are. What estimate? Again, this is the word estimate. This is a guess, basically a close guess. Estimate means to guess as close to it as possible. So 9/10, that's almost 10/10 equals 1. That's almost 1. So the 9/10 is almost 1. We're gonna round up. We're going to make this equal 1. Because that's what estimating means. You're basically making a close guess. And 3/5, we said earlier in the other question, number 1, that 3/6 is half, is equals 1/2, right? So we're gonna round this up. We're gonna round this to 1/2 as well. So we'll give this 1/2, right? This is again estimating. So you see 9/10 here is almost 1, so we're gonna round up to 1. 3/5 is almost half because 3/6 is half. So we're going to give this half. So we're going to add 1 plus 1/2 to give us an estimate, which will give us 1 and 1/2. Does that make sense? So this is our estimate right here. Okay, so 9/10 is almost close to 1, so we're going to give that 1, and 3/5 is close to.
Hi, Dylan.
Yeah, okay. So then 3/5 is almost 1/2, so we're just going to give that 1/2. So we're going to estimate this to be 1 and 1/2, and this is our answer here. You can see it right here, H. About F is about half a kilometer. Nope. G is about 1 kilometer. Nope. J is about 2 kilometers. No, that's not what we want. We want H because it's closest to it. So we're going to give H. Okay? That's number 2. Now we're going to go to number 3. Darla's family went on a vacation to Yellowstone Park. On day 1, they drove 1/4 the total distance. On day 2, they drove an additional 1/5 the total distance, which shows about how far the family has left to travel to Yellowstone Park. So we're gonna so on day 1 they drove 1/4. Whoops. 1/4. Day 2 they drove 1/5 the total distance. This is gonna estimating, okay? Because it says here, which shows about how far. This word about how far is another way of saying estimate. So we're gonna give 1/5. 1/4 is easier to add. We're just gonna leave 1/4 at 1/4. We're gonna give 1/5. It's pretty close to 1/4 because the denominator is close to 4. So we're just gonna give it 1/4. 1/4 plus 1/4. Do you know what that is? So 1/4 plus 1/4. Whoops. You just add the denominator. So you just add everything over. So equals. So the denominator stays the same, right? It's gonna be 4, with some number above it. So 1 plus 1 equals 2, and 2/4 is equal to 1/2. The way we know that is because 2 over 4, if you make this smaller, so let's divide 2 in half. So 1/2 of 2 is 1, and then 1/2 of 4 is 2. When we do this is this is gonna get kind of confusing, but just follow me here, okay? 2 divided by 2 equals 1. Never fails. Okay, so my phone's ringing right now, so it's bothering me. Alright, so anyway, in any case, I'm just gonna keep this simple. 1/4 plus 1/4 equals 2/4, which is equal to 1/2. You're just gonna take my word for that. 2/4 is equal to 1/2, and this is what we're looking for. So they drove about half the distance, and if they drove half the distance, that means they have half the distance left to go, right? Because half of 1 equals 1/2. So 2 halves equal 1 whole, right? I hope you know that. This is kind of confusing. I'm hearing myself saying it's kind of confusing to me. But in any case, so if they've driven 1/2, that means they have 1/2 to go. So because 1/2 plus 1/2 equals 1. Does that make sense? It's the same as 0.5 plus 0.5 equals 1. So they drove half, they have half to go. So this is the answer we're looking for, close to 1/2 the total distance. Because they drove about 1/2, they have 1/2 left to go. So that means this is not the answer, and this is not the answer, and this is not the answer. Again, this is kind of confusing. I'm hearing myself explain it. And there's a lot of assumptions that I'm making as far as you're learning this far. So if you have any questions, I'll try to make it more clear in the upcoming questions, okay? And that's number 3. This is going to be number 4 and 5. Number 4. Sherelle purchased a package containing 1 3/8 pounds of ground beef. She used 9/10 pound of the beef to make hamburgers. Which is the most reasonable, here's the word estimate here, which is the most reasonable estimate of the weight of the remaining ground beef? So this is what they had total. They used this, what is left? So that's going to be 1 3/8 minus 9/10. Remember, we're looking for an estimate though. So 1 3/8, so 3/8 is close to 4/8, right? 3/8 is close to 4/8, so we're going to call this 4/8, and 4/8 is equal to 1/2, because 4 divided by 2 is, actually 4 divided by 1, 4 divided by 4 equals 1, and 8 divided by 4 is 2, so that's 1/2. 4/8 is the same as 1/2. So again, that's what we're going to call this number right here. We're going to call it 1 and 1/2, and then we're going to subtract from that 9/10. We had this in another question. 9/10 is pretty close to 1. So we're just going to call it 1. 1 and 1/2 minus 1. That leaves, so we take out the 1, we're left with this, 1/2. 1 and 1/2 minus 1 equals 1/2, because you subtract the 1. 1 minus 1 is 0, right? And then you leave the half behind. So that's what we're looking for. This is the reasonable estimate right here, G. Right? Does that make sense? Let's run this through again. Okay, we're going to estimate this 1 and 3/8, so we're going to do the 1, and then 3/8 is close to 4/8, which is 1/2. So we're just going to call it 1/2, 1.5. So we get the 1, this is the 1, this is the 1, and then 3/8 we're going to estimate to be 1/2, because 3/8 is close to 4/8. And 4/8 is equal to 1/2. So we're going to call that 1/2, 1.5 there. And then 9/10 is close to 1, so we're just going to call it 1. So 10/10 is 1. 10 over 10 is equal to 1, and that's pretty close to that. So we're just going to call it 1. So 1.5 minus 1 leaves us with the 1/2, and that's the answer right here. Not this, not this, not this. It's G. On to number 5. During track practice, Jay ran 5/12 of a mile, while Lee ran 4/9 of a mile. Which best describes the total distance Jay and Lee ran? So they want to know the total distance between these two guys. So they want us to estimate 5/12. They want us to estimate 5/12 and 4/9. Then we're going to add these together. Okay, so let's bring this down over here. So we're going to bring this down here. So 5/12 is close to 6/12, and 6/12, 6 times 2 is 12, so that's half, right? Half of 12 is 6, and that's pretty close to 5, so we're going to call it 1/2, right? And then 4/9 is pretty close to 4/8, and 8 divided by 4 is 2, so that's 1/2. So 4 is half of 8, so we're going to call this 1/2 as well. Again, this is close. This 4/9 is close to 4/8, and 4/8 is equal to 1/2, because 8 divided by 4 is 1/2. If there are two, let me slow down a little bit. Half of 8 is 4. That's how you know this. Half of 8 is 4. So 1/2 plus 1/2 gives us what? 1. 2 halves equal a whole. So these are asking which best describes the total distance between Lee and, actually, Jay and Lee. You know what? This kind of guesses. So they gave us a little trick of an answer here. So 4/9 is a little less than half, and 5/12 is a little less than half. It's pretty close. Again, I'm not sure if your teachers are teaching you this, but this will take too long to kind of explain, but I'm going to try to do it anyway. So 4/9 is, because 4/8 is smaller. Actually, you search that. 4/9, double, if you were to double 4 right here, you'd get 8, right? And that's not the number you get here, it's the bigger number, it's 9. So it's 4/9 is a little less than 1/2. Is a little less than 1/2. 5/12 is the same thing, because 6/12 is 1/2, right? So this is a little less than 1/2 too. So it's plus a little less than 1/2. So it's a little less than 1/2 plus a little less than 1/2 is going to be a little less than 1 mile. And that's the answer right there. This is, I'm not sure why they're teaching you guys this, but this is, I'm seeing, this is confusing to me, kind of confusing. It's hard to explain, it's not hard to understand. Anyway, this is the answer A, a little less than 1 mile, because this is a little less than half, this is a little less than half. 4.5 is half of 9, and this, and 4 is smaller than 9. 5, or half of 12 is 6, and 5 is smaller than 12. So it's going to be a little less than this, a little less than half, a little less than half, equals a little less than 1. That's our answer right there. Alright? That's on to number 6. Miguel fed his pet rabbits 5/6 cup of food on Tuesday. He estimated that the rabbits left about 1/10 of the food uneaten, which is a reasonable estimate of the amount of food Miguel's rabbits ate on Tuesday. So 5/6, that's almost 1, because 6 over 6 equals 1. So they had 1. This is an estimate of 5/6, 1. We're going to give it a 1. And he estimated they ate a little less, or the rabbits ate about 1/10 of a cup. And 1/10 of a cup is pretty small. It's super small, right? So it's a little less, it's slightly less than 1, right? Because 5/6 is less than 1, 1/10, and they left that behind. They want to know how much the rabbits ate that on Tuesday. So again, this is kind of confusing. I'm sorry, you have to try to be taught this, because this is not easy to explain. So 5/6 is a little less than 1. 5 over 6 is a little less than 1, right? Slightly less than 1. And this is what they left behind. Alright, so they basically ate a little less than half. So they ate something somewhere. Let's look at this answer before we go into this. So the first answer, it says between 0 and 1/4 cup. Well, it's closer to 1. So that's not the answer. It's closer to 1 cup. Between quarter cup and a third cup, a third cup is less than half. So that's not it either. We want to get as close to 1 as possible. Between one and a third cup and half a cup. Again, that's still less than half a cup. No, that's not the answer we want. This is the answer we want. J. Between half a cup and 1 cup. Because we know they were given almost a cup of food and they ate almost a cup. They left behind just a tiny bit behind. So this is what we're looking for. J. This is our answer. J, because this gets as close to a cup as possible without going over. We know it's not more than a cup. But these other answers are not accurate. This is like barely, they barely ate anything. They ate a little less than half. This is they ate up to a half. And this is the answer we want. Between a half cup and 1 cup. This is hard to explain on. I'm sorry that I'm kind of muddling through it. But this is your answer right here, J. Okay, and that's the homework for today, November 2nd.